Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show presented by Yahoo Sports. It's Cyber Tuesday, Cyber Monday promo. So good, we're running it until noon today. So if you didn't get a chance to get in yesterday, use the promo code Cyber Monday for $1 for a platinum weekly subscription. Again, Cyber Monday, one big word. Yesterday did not go as I would have liked. Way too many of the dudes that stunk, not nearly enough of the guys that played well. That's DFS for you. I am joined by Adam Scher, aka Ship My Money. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? Glad to have another decent-sized slate. Nice 7-gamer. Hopefully, you can get back some of the money that I did not win yesterday.
Yeah, I helped to donate and make some people some additional scrizzle yesterday because it just did not go well. I've got the $8 up on DraftKings in lineup study right now. Highest exposed guy. Stop me if you didn't know this, but Dennis Smith Jr., 65% owned in the $8. Alex Baker had 98%. You had 91.3. I had north of 90 on FanDuel. You went for 11.25 fantasy points. Whew. And yet, doesn't really matter. Given that ownership, you're going to be okay-ish with that. It's the highest lineup that had him.
I actually had less, too, before I late swapped. I think I had like 70, 75%.
20th place was the highest finish with him.
It's not bad.
No.
Yeah, it was when I had to swap off all my Valanciunas and stuff. I ended up getting more.
Gotcha. Who do you guys hate more today? Dennis Smith Jr. or me? Yeah, there's a reason he was recommended. If you look, this is something that I do pretty regularly. If you look at just the people that played 150, he was in 75% of lineups. Frank Kaminsky in 51, Alec Burks in 47. Kaminsky, solid. Alex didn't get to him, which I think is surprising a little bit. 8.7%, you got to right around the field, but you were slightly north at 55. Trae Young, third most owned guy. Both you and Alex came in under. And one other thing to point out, Giant Squid, who took down the contest, 3.3% Trae Young. That'll help.
Yeah. I think before late swapping, I had like 20%.
Yeah, there you go. Trae Young, essentially bageled. Alec Burks was meh. Bruno. No Bruno for Alex. You had 34. Giant Squid had 1.
Yeah, I was with Alex before late swapping.
Sure.
Basically, I don't know how you do it. When I late swap, I still factor in ownership to some extent, but not nearly as much as I'm able to before. So when I late swap my lineups, like before lock, I barely had any Bruno because he was projected for ownership. I didn't really like him, whatever. But then when I late swap, it turns into more of like optimizing. And so that wasn't really good last night when a bunch of chalk failed and I suddenly had a bunch more.
Yeah, chalk did fail indeed. DSJ 3.5x, Trae Young 3.2, Alec Burks 3.8, Bruno 1.7. I mean, Giannis 4.5. He didn't so much fail as the Knicks did. Giannis succeeded very well.
Giannis went for almost 3 points a minute.
Yeah. Just dirty. I had a ton too. Didn't matter ultimately. Buddy Hield, Sabonis, Eric Pascal. Those were the next 3 highest owned guys. That next core did pretty well. And then it was more awfulness. Jabari, Embiid, Levine, not great. Kind of a gross day. Let's take a look at Giant Squid's lineup here. Go ahead and shrink us. See the screen a little bit better. Giant Squid's lineup. Graham, who ended up with 39.5, was not looking great early. He was playing pretty bad. Got there eventually. I didn't realize the Suns went on like a 10-0 run in the last 60 seconds to win that game. They're going to beat the whole time. Craziness.
Yep.
Buddy Hield also got there late, I believe. Eric Pascal, thriving in a... Did he end up starting? Who didn't start? Kai Bowman?
Bowman didn't start.
Okay.
Which my assumption was Bowman wasn't going to start. And then there was a very stupid tweet from someone saying that basically I'm pretty sure they were just guessing and making it sound like an actual thing that was happening.
I did not think that there was a chance in hell that Willie Cauley-Stein and Kevon Looney were starting next to each other. And that happened.
Yeah, that was odd.
Easier way to manage minutes is really the only way that it works out like that. Sabonis and Turner, DeAnthony Melton, Tobias Harris, Jaren Jackson Jr. Melton going for 32.75. The actual Grizzlies point guard that paid you off last night. Wasn't super shocking, but yuck. Just yuck across the board. Not a fun slate. I'd like my money back. Anything else interesting? Anything that you thought from last night that you want to touch on? Anything that stood out to you?
No.
Anything you would change?
I would not. I would have just left Valanciunas in my DraftKings lineup and not swapped to all that other trash.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think that it was a good reminder that you should be doing something other than just using medium projections to make your lineups. Like they're not talking about Dennis Smith Jr. because he clearly was just projected a lot better than everyone else, but there were so many guys in that like $3,200 range on DraftKings that weren't great projections, but had at least a path to doing well, whether that be Solomon Hill, Mikal Bridges, Bruno, who everyone went to. Like Bruno's projection wasn't really different, I don't think, at least for me, than Bridges or Hill or some other guys. So it's just a reminder that you should be doing something to account for range of outcomes when you make your lineups.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Dennis Smith, you were never going to change that one. That was going to be a real tough sell. Because even if you do project him at 26 minutes, he's still likely the best value on the slate. He might not end up being a 90%er or a near lock guy, but there's not a single thing I would change about the Dennis Smith piece. I would like to change everything else that I did, but Dennis Smith Jr. is not the piece that I want to change, no matter how bad it went. You can only be... We say this a lot, and it's probably something that we should expound on just slightly. There's only so much that like missing out on a essentially minimum salary guy can do to hurt you. You can recover from that clear across the board. If you have Trae Young in your lineup and he goes for 3.2x, you're probably in cashing is your best shot. Like min cashing is your best shot at that point.
Right.
Dennis Smith is out. Depending on the size of the slate, like it might not even matter.
Right. And a big reason for that, too, in addition to the fact that you're just not allocating a whole lot of your resources to Dennis Smith, is that normally there's not, and last night was kind of an exception to this with Hill and with Bridges, but normally when you're talking about someone that's the flat minimum, there's not high upside pivots around him either. So, and that's in addition to, like Trae Young, for example, being expensive, there's always going to be guys at Trae Young's price point that have big games. So if Trae Young doesn't, you're just losing to all of those teams.
Right.
A lot of the time, if you're going to a minimum salary guy and they only go for like 15, they still did just as well as every other minimum salary guy.
Right. Especially because most of those guys are going to be owned at 1% or less. So
right.
Like there's only so much margin where they're going to be able to hurt you. If 65% owned Dennis Smith doesn't do all that well, you really don't have a lot that you need to come back from. Yes, that lineup is probably not going to win a 55,000 entry contest, but in like a 1,000-person single entry, you're not dead. Basically, right. With any outcome of Dennis Smith Jr.
And for sanity's sake, like when you look back on a slate too, you just have to try and keep in mind and do your best to think about, if we played this slate 1,000 times, am I in a better position by having a ton of Dennis Smith Jr., even though he's popular, but having him in almost all of my lineups at a minimum salary, or by being underweight, like which happens more often? He puts up a good to great score that really helps you win, or he does what he did last night and, fails.
Right.
And I think the answer is that he succeeds more often than he fails by a lot.
Right. Because if he goes for, let's say 35 last night, he is a necessity.
Right.
And if he goes for 11, it's just like you can still get into the top 20 of this contest. You can probably sniff the top 10. That's not winning this contest. There's 55,000 people in it, but it's an interesting balance. I'd go back and do it again. The fact that everybody else I played that was terrible, that's the real problem. So, perfect opportunity. Hit that like button, everybody. Subscribe to the channel. Free content for today. We have the NBA Deeper Dive and the NHL Rankings. But we also need to say hello to Yahoo Sports. I am dropping the article that EMAC writes every day. cash building blocks. If you scroll to the bottom, you can find some information on how to sign up at Yahoo. Click the link, use the promo code AWESOMO, get up to $30 in YSRPs, Yahoo Sports Rewards points. You can get in their big contest. It's the baller for NBA or football, basically anything. And it's just a great place to play. You're going to see lower management fees, softer competition. I highly recommend you check it out. Use that promo code AWESOMO when signing up. Again, Cyber Monday promo still going until noon Pacific time today. $1 for a Platinum Weekly subscription. You can find the link in our YouTube chat. Somebody just asked, Josh, how did RJ Barrett work out for you? About as well as everybody else did, man. Real poor.
Hey, you played Barrett yesterday?
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Fucking Knicks stink. They're so bad.
Wish they would just hurry up and fire Fizdale. Like, not that would fix anything. It would just make me happy.
Yeah, and they're just gonna bring in Mark Jackson, and we'll hate ourselves even more. Or insert new coach that doesn't get the power to do anything legitimate here. Yeah, Barrett was not great. Nothing was great. Everything I touched, I was like the opposite of King Midas. Everything I touched turned to shit. All right, 7-gamer today. We don't normally get this much stuff to talk about, and for real, it's a tough slate. There is no value out there right now, at least based on everything that I looked at. It's going to be tricky for now. I didn't see a lot of spots where it seemed like it was going to open up, so I'm ready to dig in if you are.
Yeah, let's go.
Alrighty, let me fix my screen here, get everything back up, and good to go. Here we go. Cleveland Cavaliers, Detroit Pistons. Pistons 2.5-point favorites in Cleveland. Oh my God, it starts off really rough. So Cleveland's defense is terrible. Pistons is slightly not great. No real pace adjustments here. Slightly down for Cleveland. Chetty for 43 on DraftKings. Tristan Thompson for 6K. Probably the best thing going here. There's not a lot to like for Cleveland.
Love is my favorite play from Cleveland on DraftKings at 7K, but still not like it's a great spot. He's averaging about 31 minutes per game. That's what I have him for. Obviously, he can play a little more, a little bit less. Rebounding numbers are really nice. Usage is not so nice, but averaging 1.2 on DraftKings points per minute this season, favorable spot. So him and Thompson are the two that grade out most appealing for me, but neither one is a guy that I think is like a lock, close to a lock or anything like that.
Yeah, I would say Thompson on DK slightly ahead of Love for me, but not by like any sort of appreciable amount. You're really wringing the rag dry of value in this one. There's just not a lot of good. I don't really have much that I can point out that I'm like, definitely. Kevin Love is $26 on Yahoo. That would be, I think, the best price of anyone here. And even still, I'm not super enamored with it. I don't get the sense that I'm going to get to a lot of Cleveland. There are teams with, 115 or higher implied totals. Cavs are a tough sell.
Agreed.
And oh shit, why can't I remember his name? Center from North Carolina coming back. John Henson. John Henson is questionable. Might finally be working his way back. I don't think that it really matters. I don't expect him to be getting a ton of time, but just another big man that could, be in the rotation. He's not fully unavailable any longer.
Yeah. Chatty also questionable. Yeah. Not sure how much that matters. Or I mean, obviously it matters, but
yeah, that makes Kevin Porter look really interesting if he's out, right?
Yeah. I didn't mean it didn't matter. I meant it more like I don't think it's like a serious injury, so I'm assuming he plays. But
okay. I feel like he doesn't ever miss time.
I wouldn't know.
I mean, I don't know either. I feel like he's just always a guy that's.
I feel like he's never
minutes.
There.
Well, I see what you're saying there. I just feel like I don't have to delete his minutes ever. It's just like he's got a sort of a firm number and it just exists.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I agree.
On the Pistons,
if he were to sit, I assume Kevin Porter gets more on.
Yeah, probably McKinney too.
Possibly Clarkson.
Yeah. I would say that. I mean, on a day like today, if Jetty sits, Porter is probably like one of the best value plays. As weird as it sounds.
On a day like today, if Chetty sits, everyone flocks to some random Cleveland guy that does nothing, is what happens.
Fair point. Pistons side looking a little bit better. Andre Drummond, 9,800, 91 on DK, 17 flat on Fantasy Draft, and 48 on Yahoo. Blake, 7-4, 67, 12-5, 27. I like Andre Drummond on FanDuel at 9,800. I like Blake for 6,700 on DraftKings, no matter how he's playing so far this season. And I can't stop getting like a little bit of Luke Kennard every day. Talk to me about the Pistons.
Sounds reasonable to me. Drummond on DraftKings at 9,100 is my favorite guy from Detroit, followed by Blake at 6,700. Blake is playing like trash, but he's still Blake, and he's still cheap, and he's still facing the Cavs. So I have him for 31 minutes. I have Drummond for 34. I think that Drummond is a little bit better than Blake at their respective price tags, but obviously you don't have to give up the center spot with Blake, which is nice. And they both stand out as the best options for me from Detroit. Kennard is my third guy from Detroit, but he's not nearly as valuable to me as Blake or Drummond are.
How close is it for you for Drummond and Blake on DK?
I have
Blake by a hair, so I was just curious if it was like just a hair the other way for you.
Hang on, I need to do math.
Anthony Mama says, Josh, you going bowling? What's that thing on your hand? No, I cut my hand yesterday in a pretty grimy way, and I'm just trying to keep it covered for right now.
Yeah, I have them both at like 5.2 to 5.3.
Okay. Okay. Easily coin flippy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like on a day like today, right now, Langston Galloway for 3,800 on FanDuel is not like outlandish because there just aren't guys down there.
How many minutes do you have Galloway for?
26.
Okay, I have 20.
Okay. Let me look at it. Played 20 in the most recent game, 26 in the game before that. What? Something weird happened on Sunday's game, didn't? Am I crazy? Christian Wood played 22 minutes and went bonkers.
I mean, it was a blowout. It was a huge blowout. I just have him backing up Tony Snell.
Okay. Snell played 17 in the last one.
Yeah, I have Snell playing 28.
Okay.
Snell picked up 2 fouls in his second stint in the first half. If you assume he closes the first half, he would have played like 14 first half minutes.
He only played max 21 minutes in the last 3. I don't know if they're ramping him up or not.
Yeah.
I know he's just coming back after being out for a bit, so I don't know. Something I'll have to look into. It's not like Langston Galloway is showing up as some like lock button. Just his value cell was shaded light or like dark orange instead of bright red like everybody else. So I think that those are the kind of guys that I need to shout out today. I don't have anything else in this game. It's not very appealing from a fantasy perspective.
Agreed.
I mean, people are asking about Christian Wood. He is not in play, correct?
Not unless you think this game's going to blow out and he's going to play the final 20 minutes of the game.
Or
Drummond's going to die or something.
Markieff Morris is out or something. They're out of front court guy.
Christian Wood is Andre Drummond's backup.
Yeah.
We know how many minutes Andre Drummond plays in a normal game. It's 48 minus Drummond for Christian Wood. So that's not really an appealing player.
Right. There you go. Thank you. Your Washington Wizards against the Orlando Magic. And is this a typo? Are the Washington Wizards favored by 2 here? Fantastic.
Why would the 4th best offense in the NBA not be favored?
What's their defensive rank? 30?
Who cares about defense? Yes.
Not the people that were mad at my Trae Young take from yesterday. Or 2 days ago, maybe. Are they 30th?
Yeah, they're 30th. It's not particularly close either.
Pulling it up on Cleaning the Glass right now.
They're averaging 112.1 points per 100 possessions and have a negative 3.6 net rating.
Yeah, Cleaning the Glass also filters out garbage time. They're at 117 defensive rating, minus 5 point differential. 5th offense. But I know what you're looking at. It's not like you're right or wrong. It's different presentations. Anyway, Wizards, 2-point faves. Bradley Beal, 9,700 on FanDuel, 8,600 on DK. Quite a bit better. 15.9 on Fantasy Draft, even better there. But I think that we're both going to be on the same page here. The best play here, and quite possibly the best play of this entire slate, as it looks right now, Thomas Bryant is 6,300 on FanDuel, 5,600 on DraftKings, 11,300 on Fantasy Draft, $21 on Yahoo. I have to start there before I even talk about Bradley Beal. I love Thomas Bryant unless something changes.
Yeah, I agree. And if Wagner sits, it is even better. But yeah, no Vooch is good for Bryant. Lowers his foul trouble risk a little bit, which is the thing for him. Productive when he plays. Yeah, I'm right there with you on Bryant.
Yeah. He is my number one rated guy on DraftKings as of right now. I have him in for 30 minutes. Are you going less and slightly more to Mo Wagner if he's in?
If Wagner's in, I would go like
28-20,
29-19 or 30-18. If Wagner sits, I think you could actually get more for Bryant. He played 30.7 against the Clippers on Sunday. That was a game that the Clippers won by 25. The Wizards scored 125 points and lost by 25. But Bryant didn't close that game. They closed with their garbage unit for the most part. Rui closed over Bryant, but like they also closed with Chris Chioza and Isak Bonga. So I think that if Wagner's out, there's actually the potential for more run for Bryant.
Love it. What do you want to do with Beal? I think he's certainly more appealing on DK, but fantasy draft probably his best price. I like him on DraftKings today.
Yeah, the 8,600 on DraftKings is a really good price tag. That's down almost $1,000 from where he's been for a while. Orlando's a good defensive team. They don't play fast, but Washington plays at a fast enough pace where even in a pace down spot, they're still going to have plenty of possessions. 114, team total is still really healthy. So I think that Beal's the second best play on Washington behind Bryant.
Okay. After that, I mean, there are multiple guys that I think are worth a look given the value picture right now. Rui, 5,400 on FanDuel, stands out as my favorite price for him. I think that, like, depending, what do you think of Ish Smith, Jordan McRae? I've got Mo Wagner in right now. Not super interesting, although could be, I guess. What do you want to do with the Ish Smith, Isaiah Thomas duo?
With those two, I expect it to be pretty close to like 28 Isaiah 20-ish. So neither one is super appealing to me. 4,900 on DraftKings for Isaiah is okay, but not a priority. Ish is not really appealing to me at all.
Okay, sounds good.
Rui, I think, also is really dependent on Wagner. He was the backup center against the Clippers with Wagner out. The Wizards really don't have a backup center behind Bryant. That's actually something Scott Brooks had talked about recently. He said he wanted to play Wagner alongside Bryant more, but that he's scared Wagner would get in foul trouble and he would have no backup center. So if Wagner's out, you should be able to project Rui for more minutes pretty confidently. Whereas if Wagner's in, Rui is just playing the 4, and then he's susceptible to the losing minutes to Davis Bertans or Troy Brown or Bonga or McRae, like down the line, basically, depending on hot hand.
Anything else from your Wizards?
No.
This one's a really interesting one because I think this is maybe the best overall spot on the slate. Washington's defense, absolutely terrible. Massive pace up spot for Orlando. And prices that aren't totally where they need to be. I got to start with a couple different people here. So, actually, let's just start here. Who is your favorite Orlando Magic player for today?
Jonathan Isaac.
All right, we're going super different directions, so this should be fun. We're talking about everybody. So for me, it's Aaron Gordon at 5,700. Followed by Evan Fournier. Isaac's going to be third there for me. We also have $4,700 Terrence Ross on FanDuel that we're going to need to talk about. Talk to me about what stands out for Isaac for you.
I just think it's a really good spot for someone like him that not the highest usage guy, but since Vooch went down, does have a 21.7% usage rate, 14.9% rebounding percentage. Washington is obviously a fast-paced team. He can rack up defensive stats here. They're not a good defensive team. He should be able to have success in a variety of ways. And with Aminu out, I think it helps to solidify his minutes as well. So, I have him projected for 33 minutes here. I have Gordon at 32. I have Fournier at 35. I just think that Isaac he projects as the best guy for me.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't want it to come out like I wasn't interested in Isaac. He's clearly one of the better values that I see on the slate today. It just so happens that I have Aaron Gordon quite a bit ahead of him, and to a lesser extent, Fournier. I like all three guys on both sites. They would be high highly owned for me if Locke was in 15 minutes. Again, Terrence Ross, I think, is probably on Terrence Ross for 4,700 on FanDuel is probably my favorite piece of Orlando, regardless of site. Any thoughts there on Ross, or just like general agreement?
Yeah, I think that I was actually kind of scared when I was looking at my DraftKings projection for Ross because he doesn't grade out that well for me at 5,100, but it's also just the type of game where he should go absolutely, or could at least go absolutely nuts. So I'm with you that him being a little bit cheaper relatively on FanDuel makes him more appealing there. It's definitely the kind of guy where medium projection wise, he might not get into a ton of lineups, but you want to be accounting for the fact that he's a volume shooter that could pretty easily just take over a game like this.
Yeah, and at 4,700, the kind of guy that would become a necessity if it goes crazy. He can hang a number. Any Mo Bamba love? Maybe love is the bad word.
Yeah, love's definitely the bad word. But I mean, I have him at 20 minutes. I have him as a decent value, not someone that I expect to get a lot of. But as we talked about before, as of right now, there's not tons of good cheap value plays on this slate. So he's someone I could see getting into some lineups. Same really goes for Kent Birch, who played 30 minutes last game. Neither price tag is super appealing to me, but they're at least cheap enough where across 150 tournament lineups, I imagine I'll get there just because the game environment's so friendly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, you say maybe 8 Orlando Magic, like all 8 guys that played that could project for 20 minutes or more are viable for today. Isaac, Gordon, Fournier, Fultz, Ross, Birch, Bamba, Augustine.
Yeah, I think so. Augustine actually at 4,100 on DraftKings is grading out as my 4th favorite guy on the Magic. But yeah, I'm with you. Like even the guys that their medium projections don't look great for their salaries, like Ross or Birch. It's still pretty easy to envision a scenario like they're still playing close to 30 minutes against the Wizards.
Yeah, I love this game. I love this spot. It looks really good for Orlando. The game, in theory, should be close, and they are getting the benefit of playing a team that gives up 150 points like constantly.
Yeah. Homecoming for Markelle Fultz too, for everyone that believes in that.
Yeah. Kudos to him for like being a basketball player right now.
Yeah. Kudos to the number 1 overall pick a couple years ago for not sucking at basketball for the rest of his life. Like, I don't know how that became like the null hypothesis. Like, this guy's always going to be terrible.
It's really crazy. Like, that's a great trade for Orlando.
Yeah.
Just because he's not what he was does not mean that he isn't good still.
Right.
He just shoots weird. Still incredible at attacking the basket. Great handle. Fantastic defensively for his size and position. Like, he's going to have a really nice career as long as he doesn't get the yips again.
And even if it doesn't work out, I definitely almost X'd out of this show by accident.
I'd have been here.
Yeah. It was just, it's the kind of trade you should be trying to make.
Yeah.
Like, just to get a really high upside guy at minimal risk.
Especially for a team that did not have a point guard.
Right.
Or not like a point guard of the future, at least.
I mean, they have Rookie of the Year, Michael Carter-Williams.
New Orleans Pelicans. Dallas Mavericks. Mavs 3.5 point favorites in New Orleans. Start on the Pelican side. Still no Derek Favors, out with personal issues, which is super concerning, I guess. Kenrich Williams is also out for this one. So lots to like here for the Pels. Josh Hart is $4,700 on FanDuel. I think that's pretty clearly the best option across all of the sites. I've got a ton of interest in Brandon Ingram, ton of interest in Drew Holiday. This is basically just the New Orleans version of Orlando. There are 6 guys here for me that are going to play a pretty sizable role in my lineups. What stands out most to you from the Pels?
More minutes at the 4 for Brandon Ingram's the first thing that stands out. Just means more rebounding opportunities for him. Obviously, he's the highest usage guy on the team anyway, but now there's more minutes available and those minutes should be more productive. So I really like that for Ingram. And then, on top of that, it's just a couple less guys in the rotation for Alvin Gentry to use, which is really nice for us.
Yeah, Ingram is my favorite play on DraftKings. On FanDuel, where he's 9,300, a bit less so. Not that it's a problem, just Josh Hart being 4,700 he's going to play a ton of minutes.
Who do you think starts at center?
The better question, does it matter?
Do you want to see the pricing?
4,500 for Jackson Hayes on FanDuel, 44 on DK. It's 44 and 42 for Okafor.
Yeah. If Hayes were to start, like if you project Hayes for 30 minutes, I think it matters.
I projected Hayes for 24, and I love him on FanDuel. So that was sort of the crux of my thought here, is that if I'm already getting Jackson Hayes in at 40 or at 24 minutes on FanDuel, then it all depends. It really all depends on how many minutes Melly plays at center, I guess.
Which last game was like, well, all of them, but Okafor didn't play in the second half last game.
I was going to say Hayes and Okafor combined for 35 and a half minutes.
Yeah. In the first half, it was basically Okafor plus Hayes. Melly picked up like 7 minutes. And then in the second half, Okafor wasn't in the rotation. Hayes started. Melly was the backup center.
Okay. What would it take for you? So if Okafor, do we just like whoever starts? Is that the easiest way to say it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Instead of us trying.
My guess is that Hayes starts. Like,
agreed.
Hayes was starting. Hayes was playing pretty well. They give Okafor the start. He lasts less than one half, and they go right back to Hayes. I assume Hayes starts.
Decent spot for Okafor to get minutes here. It's not like Dwight Powell is some beast in the paint.
Right.
Feels like it would fit an Okafor game today, but
it also feels like it would fit a Hayes game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Look, I assume Hayes starts. Again, I gave him 24 minutes. I gave Okafor 16. I gave Melly 8 for center minutes. And if that's the case, then I like Hayes as a potential value center. But whoever is starting at center for the Pelicans is going to project at least a solid value as right now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Thoughts on Lonzo? The $5,400 tag on DraftKings looks pretty nice.
Yeah, I agree. He got up to 33 minutes against Oklahoma City, so he appears to be back and not limited. Started the game. So, I think that is a really nice price tag for him. I would say that Ingram, Drew, Ingram, Drew, and Lonzo are the three guys that stand out the most for me on DraftKings from the Pels. Then Hayes, if I give him, like 28 minutes.
I agree with you. Josh Hart is closer to that trio for me as well.
Yeah, Hart. I had Hart's minutes too low. Hart's up there too.
Yeah, I'm at 32 right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, lots to like from the Pels. We'll head to Dallas now. Decent value here as well. Luka's 12-4 on FanDuel, 11-3 on DK. Probably better off with pricing of $19.9 on Fantasy Draft and $55 on Yahoo. How do you want to handle Luka here in a pretty solid pace up spot for the Mavs?
I would like to get him in as many lineups as I can because he is basically. I was talking to a friend yesterday who was like, he was just talking about how Giannis was far and away the best DFS player, and I said that he kind of isn't, because even though he averages 1.9 or whatever points per minute, the Bucks are just so good that they blow out so many teams. Whereas Luka averages like 1/10 of a point per minute less than Giannis, but his team isn't really that good. So he's just in competitive games all the time. Right. So I think Luka's all things considered, the best DFS player right now, like the most valuable DFS player. So
yeah.
And it's a favorable spot here against the Pels. They play fast. They don't play a ton of defense. Dallas has the second highest team total on the slate at 118. I love Luka. The only concern is, how much value is there to get him into your lineups.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he's going to be tough to get to, at least as of right now.
The thing is, though, it's not that tough to get to one expensive guy.
No.
Like if you put Luka in your DraftKings lineup, you still have $5,528 per position. It's not like you have to dumpster dive for that. Like it's if you tried to go Luka plus Harden or something that you start to run out of options.
Y'all are just Luka fanboys. Yep.
No shit.
1.77 FanDuel points per minute over the past 30 days. He's been the best offensive player in basketball this season. That's not overhyped. That's just facts.
1.82 DraftKings points per minute through 19 games this season. So he played like 25% of the season so far. He's averaging 1.82 points per minute. That's something I'm generally a fan of.
Yeah, He's incredible. He's incredible. And he's hella young. Love it. Love Porzingis today. 8,100 on FanDuel, 6,500 on DraftKings. I mean, like, all things considered, I'd rather have Porzingis than Luka. Like, for today's game and because of pricing. Not like just picking guys. No?
Nah. I like Porzingis a lot. I still have Luka ahead of him.
Really? 6,500
Actually,
for Porzingis on DraftKings today.
Yeah, I have. So I have Porzingis at like 40. I have Luka at like 64.
39 and 60.4 for me. Yeah, Porzingis is like projection relative to his salary is just insane. Again, that's not to say that I don't like. I didn't know if you froze there because you were like really giving me the stank eye.
Yeah, no, I hadn't. I didn't. I was thinking Porzingis was like 7K instead of 6,500, which obviously doesn't make a huge difference. But yeah, I mean, I would still rather have. I'll probably just have a lot of both, honestly. But
okay, yeah, I agree. And then Tim Hardaway, 5K on FanDuel, 4,600 on DraftKings. I've got him in for 30 minutes. He's like a really nice value in the mid tier of pricing today.
I agree. He's not going to shoot the lights out like he has been when he plays alongside Luka and Porzingis all season long. But if you're going to get around 30 minutes in a really favorable environment for him, like, he's $500 less on DraftKings than Terrence Ross is. And as much as I love the matchup for Ross, I think that those $500 probably go a pretty long way on a slate like this.
Yeah, I have Hardaway. I have Porzingis as my second best play relative to salary today. I have Tim Hardaway as my third. That's for DraftKings. Staggering. Probably get a little bit of Dwight Powell. He stinks. Probably get a little bit of Maxey at 3,900 on FanDuel just because of the way that today looks. I don't think that Dorian Finney-Smith is outlandish. I kind of got to get to a bit of Dallas today.
Yeah, I wish that Rick Carlisle would just settle on a rotation and stick with it. That would make things a lot better. Like, we got 28 minutes from DeLon Wright last game, 21 from Finney-Smith. So it pretty much looks like DeLon Wright and Finney-Smith are splitting 48 minutes. Good luck guessing how that goes, but
yeah.
Just don't play them in the same lineup is the point there. Maxey played 22 last game. Powell played 32. I'll probably end up projecting like 30 and 24. But yeah, I think that taking shots on those secondary Dallas guys is fine just because it's such a favorable matchup against New Orleans. But Luka, Porzingis, and then to a lesser extent Hardaway are clearly the priorities.
I don't have anything else here.
Me neither.
Probably the best fantasy game for today?
Yes.
Raptors Heat, 4.5-point favorites for the Toronto Raptors in Toronto. Serge Ibaka now back. You look at the Raptors side, we kind of know what we're getting at this point. Siakam, 9,200 on FanDuel, 8,500 on DraftKings. Van Vliet, 8,200 and 7,500. Neither stands out, but they are very clearly guys that I want to have decent chunks of just because they could play a ton of minutes, and they are the very clearly two best players on the team from an offensive perspective. Do you have anything that you need to add for Siakam and Van Vliet?
Just that Ibaka shouldn't affect Siakam. If you look at the last game, if that game didn't blow out, Siakam would have played another 38 minutes. Ibaka was just the backup center to Gasol. We had seen before Ibaka's injury that he still was basically just playing center with Gasol. So it affects the secondary. It affects the Chris Boucher, who isn't in the rotation anymore. Hollis Jefferson type guys more than it affects Siakam by a wide margin.
I like Norm Powell for 5,500 on FanDuel. A little bit of OG works for me. He's having a great year, just in like regular basketball sense.
Yep.
Nobody really stands out from the Raptors, but I want to have some of the guys that play a ton of minutes. These are all like Siakam 15 to 20% guys for me.
Siakam and Van Vliet both look good to me. Everyone else is just there.
For some reason, Terrence Davis at 4,200 on FanDuel is looking like reasonable value. I don't know.
Should play like 22 minutes.
That's exactly what I have him in here for. So perfect. Yeah. I just assumed that you were reading it. Stealing my minutes projections for Terrence Davis like a thief. Go to Miami.
Just give you like all kinds of false confidence. Just tell you like, just read off your sheet and tell you that I think that's how many minutes they play.
That'd be great. Meanwhile, you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna agree with everything he says.
Just mislead the hell out of you.
Yeah. Jimmy Butler, 8,800 on FanDuel, 7,600 on DK. I think he's priced appropriately. I have no real take on Butler for this one. Guys that stand out to me the most, no Goran Dragic, so this isn't why I like him, but I really like Bam in this spot, particularly on FanDuel at 7,900. And then Justice Winslow, 5,500 on FanDuel, 4,900 on DK. He's been terrible from a fantasy sense this season, but I've got him in for 30 minutes, and at that price tag, I'm going to have him in a lot of lineups.
Yeah, I agree. The minutes are there, value's limited, and I really don't care how Winslow's look this year. We know he's a capable fantasy player. No Dragic means he should have the ball in his hands more with that second unit as well.
Yeah, I would say Winslow's my favorite guy here. Bam on FanDuel second. I'll certainly have Jimmy Butler. Then I'll be taking a pretty big step back to someone like Tyler Hero. Do you know why Kelly Olynyk basically didn't play in the last one?
Did the Heat finally realize he sucks?
Oh, that's not nice.
Yeah, no, I don't. He didn't play at all in the second half.
I know. Weird, right? I mean, they do this shit from time to time. So, like,
Silva didn't play at all in the second half either.
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around. I looked at it and I was just like, oh, I'll just wait until Adam tells me what it is.
And Bam was in foul trouble. Or no, I guess he wasn't. He just subbed out. He picked up 2 fouls, but had nothing to do with anything. But Bam played a short stint to open the third. So you would think that one of Silva or Olynyk would have actually gotten more minutes there. Yeah. What did they do?
I gave Kelly 24 minutes again, but
yeah, I think that's, I don't know. So
he could have just been like, Coach, I got the poops, and like it's just really that answer.
Yeah, but he didn't. He barely played in the first half too. So Winslow subbed in for Bam in the third quarter.
Who the hell was the center?
Leonard.
He's playing 5 now? Welcome back,
unless it was one of Robinson, Nunn, Butler, or Winslow.
Huh. I mean, to be fair, figuring out what Miami does has always been a relatively difficult task.
Yeah. I'm not going to have a lot of confidence in anything that I say right now anyway.
Yeah.
But
like, I like Kelly Olynyk if he's getting 24 minutes. That's why it's tricky on a day like today.
I think the biggest takeaway here is, so Duncan Robinson just played huge minutes in the second half.
Yeah.
That can't be an actual game plan going forward, I wouldn't think.
I gave him 24.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. He played 33 in that game. I think he probably plays. God, he was on pace for 32 minutes. He got in foul trouble in the first half, or he would have probably played like 32 anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Those were really weird rotations in that game.
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around it. Dave, thanks for the $5 super chat. Another decent win last night, even with DSJ. Keep it up. Let's double down and win again tonight. I assume you did that on purpose.
I get it.
At which point, I hope you did. Like,
I didn't get it until you said it.
Kudos to you, Dave, if you did. And if you didn't, I'm so sorry for giving you any credit for it.
Yeah, I really have no idea what to make of the Heat. But Winslow, I think, is a good value. I think the Hero obviously gets more minutes without Dragic. Nunn could potentially at least have his minutes solidified, and then Butler is Butler.
Nunn mildly appealing on FanDuel, $4,800, $100 cheaper than he is on DK, so something to keep an eye on. Best price of anybody here, if it's not Winslow for 49, it's probably Bam for 31 on Yahoo.
Yeah, Hero's only 4,300 on DraftKings.
I like it. We might need to run a crunch at the end of this. People still coming in. Josh, how about old Smith Jr.? Yeah. Why are we acting like this was only my take? Do I have to pull up the audio of Adam being like, I ran a crunch before, he was in 95% of my lineups, I expect that to continue? Like, nobody just glossed over like that wasn't a thing. Like, he wasn't 75% owned.
My favorite comment I saw last night was, I didn't even consider DSJ until Josh mentioned him.
So that's one of the few things I saw in chat last night when you were just like, oh, well, it's good that you are here, because if you didn't consider him until Josh mentioned him, you have got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I just happened to be on 2 separate shows touting him yesterday. If I wasn't on the strategy show, it wouldn't look as bad for me. But of course I touted him. He looked fantastic. It was backed up by the play of everyone in the industry yesterday. Sometimes those plays just suck. But you know what doesn't suck? Hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell so you know when we go live. Or you could just use the promo code CyberMonday, one big word, and get a $1 platinum weekly subscription. Access to literally everything that we have, except for Fantasy Cruncher. You'll still have to add that on. Every piece of content through awesemo.com, projections, rankings, articles, etc. Game plan streams from Alex, all behind the paywall. All you need is a single dollar to check it out. Sign up using the link that just dropped into chat right now. Coming up later today, Laffy and Sal will take their first look at Week 14 in the NFL. I know my wife is not listening, but kudos to you for qualifying for your playoffs as of your victory last night. I played most of the role in that happening, but either way. At 2:30, golf show, guys. Dusting off Ben and Tim for the Hero World Classic. I don't know if I got that right, but it's definitely the Hero something something. And Ben and Tim are going to talk that, take some questions, just sort of have like a casual stream. Join in for those guys. It's a fantastic show. Fun to hear those guys break down some golf. Deeper dive will be at... what time is lock? 7. I have the times in here incorrectly. Get for copying and pasting. Deeper dive at 5 with Adam and Laffy. Eddie and Chris Randone going to be on at 6 p.m. Eastern. Immediately following that, we'll also have Jake and doing his NHL show at 4. Alex doing his game plan stream. And for all the people that are always just like, where's Eddie? Where's Eddie? Where's Eddie? You guys are in luck. I'm not going to be doing live before lock on Friday. You get an extra Eddie show. So for everybody that can't stand me after recommending Dennis Smith Jr. and, well, just in general, you're in luck. Extra Eddie this week for you. Filling in for me on Friday. I will be out of town. I also won't be on the NFL show this Sunday. No Josh this weekend. Awesemo fixing to get quite a bit better. See, I'm in before you can say it.
We figured out the Kelly Olynyk issue.
He had the poops?
No, he was resting up for the homecoming game today.
Canadian?
Yeah, he's from Toronto.
I had no idea. There you go.
Yep, him and Murray and Wiggins.
Oh, now we're just naming Canadian people? RJ Barrett?
They're all from Toronto.
Oh, I just know that they're all from Canada. I mean, I really didn't know that Kelly Olynyk was from Canada.
Yep.
Blue. Alrighty, let's keep it moving. San Antonio Spurs, Houston Rockets. Face up spot for the Spurs. Talent down spot for the Spurs as well. Oh God, I truly don't even know how to break this team down any longer. Derek White for 4,500 stands out to me on FanDuel. I guess Murray in 22 minutes is oddly appealing because of this slate. I probably don't want anything here with any sort of volume. Do you see anything for San Antonio?
Not that I love. Rudy Gay is kind of interesting. Like the game blew out on Sunday against Detroit, but he played 23 minutes without playing at all in the fourth. You know, if you give him if you double his first half run, he played about 16 minutes in the first half. So some potential there for Rudy Gay to be a really good value.
Yeah, so 5,300 on FanDuel, 5,200 on DraftKings. Looking damn right tasty on FanDuel if that holds up. I don't... They've got like 11 guys, and if you told me that all of them played whatever the hell the average of 11 across 240 is, I believe it. I don't know what to make of this team, and they are putrid.
Yes, they are.
I can't really advocate for anything here. It's always just this mix of like 18 to 24 minute dudes, and you need to make sure that you get the guy that has the 24 minutes for that particular day. Aldridge, I mean, Jake Puddle, if Aldridge is out again, like that has to be talked about, right? I guess.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back and get. No, there, I found it. I was trying to get to their prior game where Gay started alongside Aldridge. But yeah, Gay played 31 minutes in that game, lost the last minute to blowout. So I feel good about Gay's, 30-minute projection. Aldridge, if he's in, is fine. If he's out, then pretty decent spot for Pirtle.
5,100 for Jake Puddle on FanDuel, 48 on DK. So like he's already priced up. He needs those minutes.
If Aldridge is out, DeRozan's rates have to get better, right?
Do they?
You would think. Not necessarily efficiency. But...
I was going to say, volume probably goes up a lot. I'd guess he gets worse. Are you looking at it right now? Like, are you going to pull it up?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to load.
Okay. See if I can beat you to it. I doubt I will, but...
He's played 134 minutes without Aldridge this year. 32.3% usage. 25.7% assist percentage. 1.32 DraftKings points per minute. Since the start of last season.
That's where I went to first, so but you might still
so you're there?
No, I'm not. Still loading.
No. Since the start of last season, now it's loading for me too. I know it went up last year. I just don't remember how much.
1.32 FanDuel points per minute in 643 minutes from the start of last season. 34% usage rate. With no Aldridge.
What the hell? Yeah, so whatever I just loaded is completely wrong.
Not surprised there.
Well, if you knew what site I was looking at, you definitely wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, DeMar, 34% usage with Aldridge off since last year. Let's see. Assist rate, 31%. Rebounding rate, 9.3. He's just going to shoot more. But I think the key metric, at least for someone like DeMar, I think that fantasy points per minute is like relatively valuable for someone like him, just because really just is like a metric of his points by all accounts. 1.33 DK.
Yeah, which is in line with what he's done this year too.
Yeah. Which is not in line with his normal production. So big boost to DeMar in that case.
Yeah. So if Aldridge is in, then I think Aldridge is fine. DeRozan is fine. Gay's a good value. If Aldridge is out, I think DeRozan's good. Gay's good, and Pirtle is fine.
Rudy Gay since last year, 1.29 DK points per minute with Aldridge out in 700 minutes.
Put DeRozan on.
Put DeRozan on?
Yeah, like with.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I thought you meant like on my lineup, and I was like, what is?
No, I meant get DeRozan on the floor.
Working on it. Still working on it.
I'm pretty sure the rates are still good going from memory, but
yeah, I mean, he's been 0.93 over the past 30 days. He's basically like a point per minute guy if you're just trying to project him generally. So anything north of
he's
1.
Been really good from a fantasy standpoint on a per minute basis. It's just that his minutes are all over the place, so it's
hard to read.
Yeah.
1.14 DK points per minute in 228 minutes since last season with DeMar on and Aldridge off. So even at that number, you're in.
Yep.
Houston, 12K on FanDuel for James Harden, 12.5 on DraftKings. I think we can both safely say that it's definitely Luka before Harden on DK.
Agreed.
On FanDuel, where Harden is $400 cheaper, for me, it's still Luka, but it's closer.
Yep, still agree.
Okay. Doesn't mean I don't like Harden, but this is not really a great Harden spot.
It's not a bad spot. It's just not as good as Luka's, and Luka's more productive than Harden.
It's the extra pace that's going to help out Luka in this scenario.
It's also the not playing with Russell Westbrook part.
That is also generally helpful.
Like, obviously, Harden is still really productive, but those minutes are still less productive than they would be. Harden, for reference, Harden this year 1.72 DraftKings points per minute. And that includes one or two games without Westbrook.
Yeah.
And Doncic is at 1.82. So
don't get the sense that it'll go to much Harden today.
Yeah, I think that it's Luka's the priority for me. There's certainly ownership numbers where I would start to flip, but I doubt that it gets to that point.
Clint Capella, 8,800 on FanDuel, 7,800 on DK. I don't mind that if he's able to play today.
Yeah, I really like the DraftKings price tag for sure.
Yeah.
Even FanDuel's fine.
$35 on Yahoo. That might even be the best one.
Yep. Yeah, and it wasn't an injury. It was an illness.
Yeah.
So.
Worked out really well playing the last guy that was out for an illness.
Who was that?
Joe Val last night.
No, well, he's still out.
I know. So I've already played one center with an illness that I thought was going to play. Didn't get the news and then got fucked out of it. So sorry, Tom.
Capella's not even on the injury report, though.
He's not?
No.
I swore I read that he was questionable.
Clint Capella is not listed on the injury report for Tuesday.
Expected to play. I don't really have a ton of interest in Russ. I guess 9K on FanDuel looks a little bit better than 8,800 on DK, but I'm not really married to that. The only other guys that I'd have some interest in, I think Daniel House for 4,600. If he's in, he's questionable, I think.
Yeah, he is.
House would be a little interesting on DK. PJ Tucker is sort of just, you hope you get that day where PJ Tucker knocks down like a 4 corner threes.
Yeah, but the problem with Tucker is that Capella being back takes away center minutes from him too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not exactly a guy that I'm like advocating for. Really, Capella is the guy that I like the most here, and it's not particularly close.
Westbrook has played 320 minutes with Capella on the floor this season, and he's averaged less than 40. He's averaged 1.16 DraftKings points per minute.
1.15 in the past 30 days.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Harden currently with point per minute rates above my baselines for him, so he's just good. Denver Nuggets, Los Angeles Lakers, Nugs, 2-point favorites in Denver. Should be a really fun game just from a basketball perspective. Start on the Denver side, going up against a really solid defensive Lakers team. Jokic is 8,900 on both sites, 16.4 on Fantasy Draft, just $38 on Yahoo. I love the Yahoo price. I really like the 8,900 price. On FanDuel, a little bit less so on DK. How do you want to deal with the Joker?
Yeah, I hate this game. For DFS. If I get to some Jokic, that's fine, but I don't really think I'll get to a whole lot. I'm expecting, I'll project 32, 33 minutes. The Lakers are a good defensive team. They're really slow. Denver's really slow. This game only has a 210 total for a reason, I think, and it's not like we have a shortage of options to get to in this price range. So, Jokic obviously comes with a nice ceiling, but I don't think I'll be getting to a whole lot of him.
Okay. I want to pose this to you on FanDuel. Drummond, since it's obviously a little bit different getting centers. Drummond 9,800, Jokic 89, Capella 88. Rank those three.
All right, give me like 30 seconds. Okay. I'll say Thomas Bryant ahead of all of them.
I agree. Jackson Hayes is ahead of all of them too if he gets the minutes. And hell, I might even prefer Mo Bamba. But that's
and so who did you ask? Drummond, Jokic?
Drummond, Jokic, Capella are like the three main pay-up options. I'm positive that $8,300 Hassan Whiteside is not a part of either of our lives compared to those three guys.
Sure. So I would have Drummond, Capella, Jokic.
Okay. I go Jokic, Capella, Drummond. So fantastic. Enjoy that, guys. Dead reversed.
One of us has been winning at NBA this year, and one of us hasn't. So.
See,
listen to the one that's been winning.
The problem in this statement is that everybody assumes what you're saying is you.
I'm very much aware.
People are like, if I waited a little bit to start talking, YouTube chat's going to be like, well, I'm definitely listening to Adam on this one.
Yep.
Josh sucks. Playing me wrong so far, guys. Been a great October, November. December not off to a great start. Jamal Murray, 6,600 on DraftKings. Looks tasty. Paul Millsap, 58 and 53. Reasonable value. $4,800 Gary Harris might be the best piece of this on FanDuel.
Yeah, the minutes are there.
Yeah.
He
Oh God.
showed some signs of life last game.
He's been 0.67 FanDuel points over the last 30 days, man. That is brutal. He's so bad. You don't think you're going to get to a lot of Denver, though? This is just filler. At least on DraftKings,
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Yeah. Even on FanDuel, they just kind of look not that interesting to me.
Shooting guard on FanDuel is kind of tricky today, where all the value is sort of in that Gary Harris, Josh Hart, Terrence Ross section.
Yeah.
Which is rough.
I think I would say either Hart or Ross. They're both ahead of Harris for me.
Okay. Hart and Ross both wildly ahead of Harris for me. Harris coming in third.
Yeah.
Lakers side, just general thoughts. What do you think of LeBron and AD here? Because they're not grading out all that well for me, which surprises me considering AD is $9,600.
Yeah. Kind of the same thing I said for the Denver side. Like Denver's been the most efficient defense this year. They've played at the slowest pace this year. So $9,600 Davis, I think, is fine. He grades out as the best Laker for me. 10-2 for LeBron is fine also, but I would just so much rather find $1,000 for Luka. At power forward, I would rather save $3,000 and get Porzingis over Davis, for example.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a really unappealing game to me.
We're on the same page here. I really don't like much of anything from LA. No one even stands out as like one-off guys that I want to find on a different site. I think like a little bit of JaVale or maybe a little bit of Dwight Howard. One of those two guys is probably viable. Probably more JaVale just from a per minute standpoint, but who the hell knows how many minutes he gets? You just assume that you see a bunch. Not a bunch, but like more important against Denver, I guess.
That's right. Yeah. The thing is though, like if McGee and Howard play more minutes, that directly means that Kuzma's not.
Right. Which probably fine.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that stands out to you from the Lakers?
Nope.
Yeah. I don't have anything to add here. So we just got ownership, or we got it fairly recently. Jeremy Grant is at 13% on FanDuel. No one else in double digits. Murray at 16% on DraftKings. No one else in double digits. I think that all makes perfect sense, although 3% Gary Harris feels too low, but that's neither here nor there.
I looked up Denver's post up defense numbers just to double check, but seventh most efficient team, or sixth, tied for sixth most efficient team, points per possession against post ups. So doesn't make me feel any better about Davis.
No. On the Lakers side, no one in double digits either side.
Yeah, seems right to me. I mean, it's really just the way I view this game is that, there's a pretty good chance that like at least one guy from either team has a good game for their salary. So you can certainly be using these guys as contrarian plays in lineups, but nothing at all that looks like a priority.
We'll circle back on overall ownership after we finish out this last game. But since we're already at the end, let's do that. Clippers and Blazers. Clippers 9-point favorites at home against Portland. Against the reigning Western Conference Player of the Week, Carmelo Anthony. What a farce. Yuck. Oh my God. Luka averaged 40, 10, and 10 or something stupid in that week. Give me a break. Oh my God.
Pleasantly surprised with Melo, though, at least from a DFS standpoint.
Yeah. 0.93 FanDuel points per minute so far. Looks fine. Certainly not the player of the week, but, whatever you got to do for good press. On the Clippers, they look a little bit more appealing on DraftKings. Only Kawhi Leonard on FanDuel is in double digits in ownership. DraftKings, however, 23% for Kawhi, 14 for Paul George, 15 for Lou Will, 12 for Bev, 17 JaMychal Green, 10 for Zubac, for reasons that I have no idea. Lots to like here. I'd say my favorite guy is probably $6,400 Lou Will. Talk to me about your favorites from the Clippers.
Yeah, the price tag on Lou Will is really nice. They, last I looked, weren't staggering George and Kawhi, so that has been good for Williams. I'm pulling up the Washington game to double check that, but yeah, they're staggering them a little bit, but it's not a true, one of them on the floor all the time. So Williams is still getting a decent chunk of minutes where neither of them are on the floor, and then a little bit more where only one of them is on the floor. So that's good for Williams. I think that in a competitive game, you should still get 30 to 32 minutes from him. So yeah, I think that's a really good salary there. I think that George and Kawhi are pretty favorably priced as well.
Yeah, I really like this DraftKings side of it. FanDuel, I'm a little less enthused. I'm okay with getting a chunk of the Clippers, though. Portland has been really bad defensively. Don't get the sense that is going to improve at all playing 32 minutes plus for Carmelo. So Carmelo is actually doing good. As I can't read the rest of that. It's barely English. Yeah, he's okay-ish. Like, he's still bad.
He's been what we talked about, right? Basically, like, he wouldn't make a lot of good teams better, but he does make Portland better because he's better than what they were running out there.
Yeah, exactly. Still a ridiculously inefficient guy that needs the ball in his hands. What else is new? He's just been he's been better. He's been more efficient than we were led to believe over the past 2 seasons, but also ultimately still rough. Here's the real piece that I think is interesting. And it's not like he played a ton of minutes for Houston, but he did for Oklahoma City the year before. He got a 10% assist rate for Portland so far this season. That was 6% in Oklahoma City. Like, that is something that needed to happen for him to be relevant on the floor.
Agreed.
So there is that. But 1.06 points per shot attempt is 22nd percentile. That's rough. 93rd percentile in usage. So has the ball a lot, isn't particularly efficient when he does something with it. This is on-off. I assume his plus-minus is pretty good because they've been winning. Yeah, +5. That'll go down eventually when they stop playing the Bulls. Let's talk about the Portland side. Dame Lillard, roughly 15, 16, 17% ownership, somewhere in that neighborhood on both sites. CJ is 14 on FanDuel. Otherwise, nobody getting any sort of love. I would say that CJ on FanDuel at 6,900 is my favorite piece from this side. $4,700 Rodney Hood also looks okay. I don't have a ton that I like from Portland on the DraftKings side.
8,400 Lillard looks pretty good. It's a brutal matchup, obviously, against a Clippers team that has a million really, really good defenders. But when you're just thinking about it in terms of ceiling and you don't care too much about, efficiency, 8,400 is pretty nice.
Yeah. It's not like it's reasonable.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Dame or PG?
PG, I think.
Dame or Brandon Ingram?
Ingram. The Clippers actually haven't been very good. Oh, that's because I'm looking at offense. Never mind. They have been good. I was really surprised that they were like they were in like the bottom 10 in efficiency against the pick and roll. Oh wow, they've actually they've allowed the 7th most points per possession to pick and roll ball handlers this year.
Really?
Yeah. 20th percentile.
Whiteside coming off of that 10 block game. Did you see his quote about that previously?
I didn't hear what you said.
Whiteside coming off the 10 block game. He had one previously. I believe it was when he was with Miami. Did you ever see his quote about it?
No.
They asked him about it, and he was just like, yeah, I'm just trying to get my 2K rating up. Appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
It was first, like, on the court. Like, this is just post-game interview. I'm just trying to get my 2K rating up. At least he knows what's what, man.
Yeah, he missed the triple-double by a basket.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Rare to see the old triple-double without the points.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I don't have much from Portland. I do have ownership for everything, though, so I'm going to hit you with a couple of the big numbers. Any guesses as to the chalkiest player on the DraftKings slate today?
Thomas Bryant?
He is second.
Luka?
Kristaps Porzingis. 37.8. Luka Doncic coming in at 20. Here's the top few. Porzingis at 38. Bryant, Beal. Don't like that. Blake.
Beal's my third value guy right now.
Really? Blake, Kawhi, Siakam, Love, Doncic, Drummond. FanDuel, Rudy Gay, Russell Westbrook, Siakam, Porzingis, Harden, Drummond, Hardaway, Blake. I got to go all the way to where? Luka Doncic at 11% on FanDuel. That is low. That is very low.
Is Harden higher or lower?
Higher by a lot. Harden 30, Luka 11. Russell Westbrook 3 times as much ownership as Luka on FanDuel right now. Don't think that holds.
Probably not.
I don't think that we get 32% owned Russ and 30% owned Harden, while also having 10% Luka. It seems like a weird package of 2 people. 32% Siakam, that isn't crazy to me, but 9% Brandon Ingram. I would just rather have Ingram. I have Ingram projected for more fantasy points, so. Today feels like it's going to be the opposite of yesterday in that I'm not on the chalk.
Yeah. But I think in general, on days where there's not clear-cut value, that tends to happen.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Alrighty. I don't have anything else. So another perfect opportunity for you guys to hit the like button and head to awesemo.com/join. Plug in that promo code Cyber Monday, one big word. You have a couple more hours yet before it expires. Head there, get our Platinum Weekly Package for just a single $1. No obligations after that, but we'd recommend you continue to hang out with us. And then check out Laffy and Sal coming up in 15 minutes, talking some NFL Week 14. Adam, do you have anything else?
No, I was actually just looking at the individual the individual numbers for the Clippers defenders against the pick and roll, and Beverly's been absolute trash, and George has been great as expected.
Beverly trash against the pick and roll is expected?
I was talking about the George part.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, what am I missing here that I'm not? What dot am I not connecting? JJ Smitty, since we have a bunch of time here, Rodney Hood value today. I think so. I mean, not like it's anything special, but the dude just plays a bunch of minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
he stinks. Sure. He's not a value, I guess is probably the easiest way to say that, because anybody that's playing 30 minutes plus on today is in play for right now.
Would you rather have 18 minutes from Kent Bazemore at 3,300 or 32 minutes from Hood at 4,500? I'm only half joking with that question.
Yeah, so I have it 32 for Hood and 20 for Bazemore right now, and my answer is Hood, but it's way closer than most people would think if you just read that question off.
Right, yeah.
What happened to Anthony Simons? He became irrelevant when all of their starters kept playing.
Yeah.
That's all?
Yeah, Lillard came back.
Yeah. Yeah, some Damian Lillard guy is back in the lineup.
And also Melo. Yeah. I mean, obviously different positions, but there were times where they were closing with Lillard, McCollum, Simons.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Lillard back and Melo. Melo playing 30 plus minutes easy every night. So that's all I got, guys. Thank you for joining us. Shout out once again to Yahoo Sports for being our presenting sponsor. Check out that cash game article from EMAC for information on how to sign up to get your Yahoo Sports rewards points. We will be back later tonight with the deeper dive and live before lock. But this pretty face and broken visually hand, not actually broken, will not be back today. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Good luck tonight.